Good afternoon. Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Good to see you, Mike. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me, the Ace List Live. Where are you in the world today? Because you travel nonstop.
Well, I'm in Amsterdam in our headquarters, not so far away from your office or your store now. I used to travel a lot, but thanks to COVID, my family has a lot more quality time right now.
Yeah, you do. And you just celebrated a special anniversary. So, Mazal Tov on that.
Thank you very much. 20 years together, more than half of my life together with my wife. How is that?
Amazing.
It's
Lucky you that she stays with you.
absolutely. Touch wood.
Yeah, indeed. Um, I get a notification that LinkedIn doesn't let us broadcast yet. So let me just remove that one. All right. So sorry for that. Usually I let the guests introduce themselves, but since you're my childhood buddy, this is a
Yeah, go
very
ahead.
special session for me. We're both in Amsterdam, not next to each other physically, but virtually. We've been buddies since we were little kids. I've been doing business now. You're almost 40. I'm 41. I guess also almost for
20
almost
years
a
at
decade.
least. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been an honor. It's amazing to work with both your dad, your sister, and you. And actually, we are related now, as your second cousin decided to marry my brother. So we're family now as well. So this is a very, very special session of the Ace List. Um, I want today to discuss because we are honored to do two sessions with the Ashers. Your sister is up, I believe, on the 17th.
Yeah.
So with you, I would love to talk about the heritage and the history of Asher. Amsterdam is a diamond city.
Yeah.
So past, present, and what the future is. We got a lot of questions that already came in from people that can't watch us live. Everybody who can't tune in can watch this episode later on YouTube, Facebook, and obviously on theacelist.com and listen to it as a podcast. That's why I'll read out the questions out loud when they're shown in the screen. Um, we always start with a wrist check, but for you, I made it a jewelry check. So we're both
Uh,
men.
let's do both because the jury check. I think you have something unique to talk about later on, which is on your hand. Well, that's definitely here. 12 and a half year marriage, 20 years together. The actual only piece of jewelry on the hand I wear every day. Um, the wrist check is the other one, and you have been part of that yourself. It is IWC Jones. I got from my wife 12 and a half years ago when we married as a wedding present. Very special for me, and of course also for you because we were honored that you were the person who would be able to supply it. So no, very happy with it.
I
Um,
hoped you would wear that one, because especially for you, I put on mine that I wore on my wedding.
Nice.
So
Well, actually, this morning, when I dropped off the kids, I drove back home to put it on.
I love you. That's why I love you. See, it's all in the details. So,
Exactly.
so that's funny. That's the question I always get. We as jewelers and diamantes, we hardly wear jewelry, right? Do you have any diamond that you wear actually? You yourself?
Well, how long are you married?
I'm gearing towards 11 years in November.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm slightly ahead of you because I started our tradition that we add a diamond on the inside of our wedding ring, and I add one per kit as well. So
Nice.
um, I have 16 diamonds on the inside of my wedding band.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So I have we married in 2009. So my two zeros are diamonds, brilliant cut diamonds. I love diamonds. I still want a pinky ring, but I still have to sell that at home. But a fun story: my in-laws made me a wedding gift which is an awesome shape in white
Cufflinks,
gold, and
Royal
a
Asscher Cut.
little diamond, discrete diamond on the inside.
Nice.
So whenever I suit up, I always wear cufflinks, but I always have my wedding band on, my watch, and I'm actually testing a smart ring right now. So I'm just wearing it for a week. I usually wear one ring. So I
And do
wanted
you
to.
get smarter?
It's not making me any smarter, but I've been playing with the idea to make an Ace Fine Jewelry smart ring in precious metal, which this isn't. So that's why I'm wearing it right now. And I love tech like you do. So I want to see what's going on in the market. But I want to talk with you about that when we reach the subject of future.
Okay, because the only smart ring you have is on the other hand. You know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
wedding band.
definitely. And the one that put it on is the smartest of us too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you for that. Um, Maybe you do a short intro, Mike, and then we'll
Yeah,
slide into the ace list questions. Is that okay?
that's that's
Just a
cool. So,
brief intro
brief
for
introduction.
who
Well,
doesn't know.
who doesn't know me is I'm Mike Asscher, and I'm since recent, together with my sister, co-president of the Royal Asscher Diamond Company, one of the oldest diamond companies in the Netherlands, 6 generations, founded in 1854, and have some amazing historical stories to tell about, obviously, the world's most famous diamond cut, the Azure Cut diamond, designed and patented in 1902 by my great 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 grandfather, who
Those were four great.
yeah, that's I always lose track of time, but
Yeah.
it was 1902. It was Joseph Asscher who had the opportunity to cut and polish the largest rough diamond ever found, the Cullinan diamond, 3,106 carats, until today still the largest rough diamond, for
Amazing.
King Edward VII in Great Britain. And of course, we will get to that part as well, but some amazing stories there. We've built up the family company up to the Second World War, where we had 500 diamond polishers working for us in our factory. Unfortunately, only 15 people survived the war, and including, fortunately enough, my family. My grandparents were liberated on Friday, the 13th of April, 1945. Um, and my grandfather and his brother decided to rebuild the company in Amsterdam because of our roots with the city. City of Diamonds is always Amsterdam, historically seen. Um, so we've been building up the company since that time. In 1980, my grandfather retired. My father and his younger brother asked him, "So what would you like to get as a retirement gift?" And eventually, the best gift that we could have given him was an application for an authentic royal title. And in 1980, Queen Juliana signed off her last royal title to one of the businesses in the Netherlands. That was us. I joined in 1998 into the business as right out of high school. Did brand management, financial management, and recently started an MBA. But did everything possible in our company. I started as a diamond polisher, went on buying trips, did rough sorting, polished, and eventually now very honored and happy to be able to run this company together with my sister. And it's a weird year this year because March 2nd, my father retired after 50 years working for the business. And March 16, we went in lockdown and closed the business for 2.5 months. So
Yeah.
it was quite a ride so far. But that's a very quick intro of who I am and who you are talking to right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So let's do the 7 questions. The aim is to do a session of 45 minutes. I can't promise that we'll stay at 45 because we have a lot to discuss. Your quick intro was a long intro, and there's a lot of subjects to cover. So let me dive into the first question. What watch or jewel is your favorite and why?
Um, I think I have. Oh, that's a difficult question. I have multiple answers. Watch. I have two because they have emotional value to me. The one I showed you already, the IWC Jones Limited wedding gift, which I will always keep and keep for the next generation as well. And a Rolex Pepsi Cola. It was a present of my father in 2006 after a successful trip to Japan. It was the first watch he ever bought himself. And it was my first trip to the Far East without my uncle, who unfortunately passed away 2 weeks after I returned from that trip. So the emotional value there is quite big. So those are the two favorites for sure.
Nice.
Jewels, I would say Elizabeth Taylor Group Diamonds.
Yeah.
33 karat Azure Cut, D flawless, recently sold on auction for $8.9 million. Not to us, luckily, but one of the most impressive original Azure Cuts we cut in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'll jump right into the future. The new Royal Asscher pear shape.
Okay. All right. Interesting. That's a scoop, isn't it? You heard it first at the Ace List. Okay. Awesome. So you triggered me now. But let's flow to the second one. What did you want to be when you grew up? Maybe rhetorical.
It definitely. Well, 5 years ago, my dad walked into the office with an old painting with old diamond tools, and it was horrendous to see. It was an ugly painting, but he gave it to me as a present. I said, "What do you want to?" He said, "Look on the other side." And in my childhood handwriting, I wrote proudly, "Got as a present from my dad, 1988. I was 8 years old." So at that time, I already knew I wanted to be in the diamond business.
Cool. Yeah. Did you ever had a doubt or thought about something else? I'm not talking about as a little boy, as a fireman. Yeah, a bit older.
Fireman? No. I've never had doubts. This is
okay, cool.
This is my. I'm working. I'm living the dream now. Come on.
Awesome.
6 generations.
Awesome. Cool. Who's your role model?
My dad.
Yeah.
Been working alongside with him for 21 years, which has been a mentor, a business partner, and a friend. My uncle, who has been my mentor, my business partner, well, my mentor and my friend in the first.
Right?
Joop, yeah, Uncle Joop.
Late Joop, yeah.
Late Joop, who passed away in 2006.
I've met him also, and I've had the honor to work with your dad. And you're a nice guy, and it's hard to believe, but your dad is even nicer.
It's something with the apple, The apple didn't fall far from the tree. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Cool. Fourth question is, if you could teleport tomorrow, where would you go, Mike?
I think it's quite an interesting question because we are not allowed to travel at the moment, but there are some places I actually have to go. So, and that makes it difficult because some cultures are not so used to Zoom calls and let alone getting a call during the day from us. So I would do two things. I would teleport to Japan, because I would love to visit the most important country for our business at the moment. And the second is I would go back to Mexico, where we got engaged 13 years ago, and I would experience that one more time.
Nice. Just quickly to jump into Japan, did you refer also to them that they don't like to Zoom so much? Are you talking about that culture or a different one? Which is an interesting question.
No, I think we opened up a store on the Ginza, which is the main shopping street of Tokyo. Several years ago, I had a fantastic general manager in our business, and I moved out of Amsterdam and started to live somewhere else. And I had travel time in the morning to my office. So whenever I got in the car in the morning, I would call our general manager, now the CEO, and ask him how's the business. And after 3 months, he said to me, Mike, I'm busy. Leave me alone. Why are you calling me? And it was probably because I talked to him too much. But if some meetings, you just have to do face to face. It's so much better. And
I agree.
And especially if the market is so important for you. Let alone, I think Japan is one of my most favorite countries in the world. So that is also one of the reasons I would like to go back.
Yeah. I love Japan. I love the Japanese culture, cuisine. I was curious, could you come up with a reason why the Japanese love Royal Asscher so much?
Of course.
I think it's the most loved Dutch product in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
We are the number 3 or 4 most important diamond engagement ring brand from outside of Japan. But what the most important part is that we've been working in Japan since 1965. Japan opened the borders for international trade. The brother of my grandfather decided to go to Japan and explore the opportunities. He came back with one customer. And that one customer happened to be the most important retailer of Japan. The same family owned Seiko watches and started to build the distribution for the Royal Asscher brand in Japan. And if you work in a country for over 50 years, now even longer, then you are able to build such a brand awareness. That is the main reason.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So teleporting back to question 5. What book are you currently reading? And you said you started an MBA. So is it an MBA book?
Honestly, I read more children books today than I read actual books. Every night there is 1 or 2 children books coming by.
Yeah.
I put on a break my MBA since this year because of the transition of generations in heading the company, and then COVID hit. So luckily for me, not too many MBA stuff going on.
Okay.
But I have on my night desk this subtle art of not giving a fuck. And I know it's a really good book, and I'm actually really good at it. So
I finished it Sunday, so I published a review on it. So call me when you finish it. I would like to compare notes.
Definitely good.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. 6th question: what do you think is going to be the color of 2021?
Honestly,
yeah,
doesn't matter as long as I can sell it. I don't know. I'm not so much into the color trends in terms of retail, because our main focus is on diamonds and diamond engagement rings. We see a trend where yellow gold became much more popular, but that is not the direction you are asking the color for.
You can answer the way you want. Do you guys do fancy colored diamonds?
Sorry?
Do you guys do fancy colored diamonds?
Yes, we do. It's one of my biggest passions is fancy colored diamonds. As you know, the only problem when you have a passion with this kind of product is the chance that you pay too much is relatively high, because you eagerly want it. I recently bought a very, very cool stone. It's a green yellow diamond from Brazil. And when it came in, my team said, "Hey, look, we have a disco diamond." I call it a glow in the dark stone.
Awesome. I would love to see that.
It is so bright. It is amazing.
Nice.
So yeah, I love fancy colored diamonds. If we look at the trend in diamonds, let's separate from colorless, of course, where we can talk about forever. The most interesting part is by January 2021, the Argyle mine in Australia will close.
Yeah.
It is the mine which produces the most pink diamonds in the world. And if you can imagine that there's, let's say, 130 million carats of white diamonds mined, there are 30 carats of pinks coming out of the ground. That mine is 42 kilometers and is empty, or actually it's commercially not viable anymore to get more out of the ground.
Yeah.
So I think the color for 2021 is definitely in diamonds, pink. We got it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, cool. Do you do gemstones? Natural colored gemstone?
We discontinued. Yeah. We used to do some sapphires,
Yeah.
but I've discontinued the collection because eventually, trying to sell a Royal Asscher sapphire is much more difficult for a retailer than a diamond eventually. So because the name Asscher and diamonds are the same.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Last question. Actually irrelevant for you. But the last part, what is your favorite spot, memory, location? What do visitors Amsterdam have to visit besides the Asscher Museum on the Tolstraat?
Well, actually, that's not allowed for the public to visit. So what the people have to do when they visit is visit the Royal Asscher retail partners, any of them, to start with, because they tell our story best. But core to our city, the Anne Frank House, the National Art Gallery, and my most favorite part of the city is on the water. The city of Amsterdam, the design, the architecture, the most beautiful part of our city, you see from the water. You don't see from walking
So give
through
me
the
one
streets.
spot that's not on the usual suspects list. Where do they need to go?
Good question.
Should I help you out?
No, I would say very close to my office building, there's the Pestana Hotel. I would say have a drink in the garden of their beautiful restaurant with the view of the Royal Asscher factory behind you.
And on the other side, the Amstel River.
Exactly.
Which Amsterdam is the dam built on that river. Good one.
So what else do you want?
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So those were the questions. Thank you for that. We are already 25 minutes in. Let me see. We have questions coming in. So let's pick up where we stayed with history. You've done an extensive story, I think. What put you guys on the world map is the polishing of the British Royal Crown jewels, which are on display in Tower Bridge, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. The Tower of London.
Tower of London.
Tower of London.
Yeah.
So, the Cullinan diamond is by far the most famous diamond in the world.
Yeah.
It was 3,000 carats, a little bit over. It was found in South Africa, and it was a present from the South African government to King Edward VII of Great Britain, as a peace offering for the Boerenoorlog at that time. So this diamond has a spectacular journey. It came from South Africa. It went to the UK. And one story is it went by registered mail, insured for I think 100,000 euros. gulden at the time.
Yeah, which is 45K euro now today.
The other story is that there was a boat from Scotland Yard who took it to London, but that is not the most intriguing part of the story, of course. So the stone was found not during regular mining. A security guard did his last round in the mine, and on his way up in the shaft, he saw something in the wall, and he started digging it out. And he kept the stone in his pocket for a few days because he didn't believe it was a diamond. Then he gave it to the owner of the mine, Mr. Cullinan, and eventually it arrived safely in London. This was all. The stone was found in 1905, and the process to get it to London it was 1906. My great-great-grandfather, Joseph Asscher, 1903, had the opportunity to cut and polish a very large diamond, which was found by De Beers, and the 997 carat Excelsior diamond. And I think he did quite a remarkable job, because that was actually the reason that King Edward VII invited Joseph Asscher to see if he was interested in cut and polish this diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So Joseph went to London, and he was studied the stone, and the king asked him, would you be able to cut and polish this diamond? And he said, yes, of course, but how are we going to get this specific stone in Amsterdam? And he said, well, there's a publication going out, Scotland Yard will take a big cruiser and take it to Amsterdam. You will be able to receive it next week. He said, well, Your Royal Highness, I think that's a very good idea. Can you give me the diamond? So he gave the diamond to Joseph Asscher. He put it in his pocket and took the normal ferry, with the largest rough diamond in one pocket and a gun in the other. And then he was obviously quite nervous, and he forgot to bring any money for something to drink on the way. And he found an acquaintance and who said, Mr. Asscher, I hear the Cullinan is on its way to Amsterdam. When is it arriving? The only thing he could say was, soon, I hope.
Yeah.
So the soon, I hope, is something that we use quite often here.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Yeah. And you know, this stone has so many fabulous stories. So I'll share one more. The cutting and cleaving, and at that time, when you were looking at the diamond, there was no technology. So what they did is they had to cleave a diamond, which means you have to break it in two pieces or more. This stone was heavily included, which means that there were all small inclusions or imperfections in the stone. Eventually, my great-great-grandfather cut 9 large, clean diamonds. The largest one is 530 carats, which is a pear shape in the scepter, and the second one is a cushion of 317 carats. But they were all of the highest color, but he was able to cut it in such a way that all these stones became perfectly clean. But the moment he wanted to first break that stone into two pieces was February 1908. He put the blade on the stone and he hit it. There's a very famous picture. He hit it and the stone did not break, but the blade broke.
It broke, yeah.
So we still have the broken blade in our museum, which is amazing. He eventually created larger and heavier tools, and then 2 weeks later, he successfully cleaved the Cullinan first in 2 pieces, and then later on in multiple pieces. He cut 9 large stones and 43 smaller ones. And the famous story is he fainted because of the tension after he successfully cleaved it. And I think it was 1998, 1999. My grandfather came into the office and I told him, I said, now I really want to know this story. What's the truth? And he looked at me, he said, Mike, of course he didn't faint from the tension. When he successfully cleaved the stone, he drank so much champagne, then he fainted.
But
That
listen,
sounded fun.
there's a lot to faint for those that don't know, and a lot of people are not aware of the fact that we always speak about hardness of diamonds, right? The surface is a hardness 9 on a scale of 10 of most, but it's built molecularly in squares. And to break them, you need to have, back in the day, cleave them. But you don't know what you encounter, what you refer to the inclusions and imperfections. They can make the break different. It can split wrongly. And obviously, there is a lot to faint about, because if it goes wrong, what would the king do to you? Hang you.
I wouldn't. We would not have this discussion today. That's for sure.
So it was literally a make or break, because when people wear diamonds, we always warn them that you need to keep in mind they can break. You can't scratch them, hardly, but you can break them. So yeah, that's an amazing story, because I assume there weren't many master diamond cutters out there that would even dare to do it.
Yeah, it took him close to a year. Yeah, it took him close to a year to study the stone itself. And that's also the beauty. I think that what you just said is that people don't realize how much craftsmanship goes into our business, from rough to polished to jewelry, and the whole process from analyzing a rough diamond. You know, you have the color, you have the clarity, the standard 2 of the 4 C's. Then the 2 most important ones, which you are able to determine yourself, color and clarity, it's difficult, is the carat weight. What is the yield I'm going to get out of this rough diamond? And most important is the cut. And people often don't recognize that, because you can have different cuts. We have 4 patented diamond cuts, but you can also have a good or a poor cut, and or very good or excellent and a poor cut. And if you have a diamond of 1 carat which has been polished badly, so the cut of the stone is not good.
The finishing touch
of it. If it's exactly the same size, color, clarity, but the cut is either very good, cut by Royal Asscher, or very poor, cut by anybody else in the world, the price difference is huge. It's like buying a car without an engine. You know,
let's focus on that 1 second, Mike, if I may.
Yeah.
So the Royal Asscher Cut is a patented design which has been upgraded almost 20 years ago, right? You guys have the Asscher Cut. You redesigned it, made it better, improved it, like the Porsche 911. It evolves and becomes better, but the DNA is the same and the style code is the same.
Yeah, perfect.
So how did you guys go about patenting the Royal Asscher Cut today? And then you have 4 more, and the 5th is coming, the pair?
Actually, we have 3 more, so we have 4 today.
Yeah.
So first, the Royal Asscher Cut, a redesign of the old patent, and how you have just explained it doesn't get any better, although I would have used a different brand name. You have an icon, and if we take a few steps back into history, the Asscher Cut, our first patent diamond cut in the world, from 1902. We lost that patent after the Second World War. At that time, a patent was valid for about 50 years. After the war, there was no demand for fancy shapes, and we did not continue the shape.
Fancy, we call everything that's used, not round, brilliant cut, right?
Yeah, well, what happened is a square step cut diamond today, we always say Mr. Kleenex didn't know his name became a tissue. We in Amsterdam, we have a specific sparkling water. Everybody calls the same name. But if you look into the diamond market, a square step cut stone is generically called an Asscher Cut. It's focused on the original shape many years ago. It doesn't represent the original shape anymore, because that was high crown, steep pavilion, dramatically cut corners, and a square step cut today normally is more of an
emerald cut, right? Emerald cut.
Yeah, emerald cuts, Emerald cut, square emerald, small corners, deep pavilion. But the Royal Asscher cut was a redesign of that old patent. And we've looked at the stone and we looked at the patent and we see what do we keep and what do we lose. And the only problem for us is that we like the most beautiful diamonds. We have been cutting diamonds for beauty instead of yield for over a century now. And that is that if we look at the Royal Asscher Cut, it has been developed in 4 or 5 different phases where eventually all our friends, family, colleagues, competitors, and clients decided we had 5 different models. Everybody picked the same stone. That was the Royal Asscher Cut.
And I always say beauty in a diamond is one thing, and the most important thing is light, fire. In French, this éclat. It needs to sparkle, right? Everybody focuses on carat yield. What you say, they focus on color.
Cut is the most important part.
Light.
Beauty, bushy, everything. So my father was in the United States in the late 90s, and the square emerald became super popular, and he was walking around with the sign Edward Asscher. People came up to him and said, "Are you Mr. Asscher of the Asscher Cut?" And he said, "Yes." And they said, "Can we buy some?" And he said, "No." He came home and he said to his younger brother, he said, "Joe, we have to change this. But we are not in the business in selling generic diamonds. We are in the business of adding value, adding beauty to our products that we sell." So we started to redesign the old patent, and that was the original Royal Asscher Cut. It was one of the most successful. It is one of the most successful fancy cuts in the world. And about 6-7 years ago, my father and I started to redevelop different cuts. So we now have the Royal Asscher Brilliant, which is a round diamond with 74 facets. Again, I'll get to the 74 facets in a bit. A Royal Asscher Oval and a Royal Asscher Cushion. All of our fancy patented diamond cuts so far have been cut with 74 facets. Because they were inspired by the Cullinan #1, which is the 530 carat pear shape, who at that time was cut with 74 facets, which was unique for the time because 1908, everything was done by hand. There was no mechanics, there was no measurement. And he wanted to improve the beauty of the stone. So here is my scoop for you. Recently, I have been developing the Royal Asscher pear shape. This time not together with my father, but more together with my sister. My dad, after his retirement, did come into the office to have a look at the stone. I just wanted to see, and he said, "Wow, this is really cool."
Pear shape we call in the industry
it's like a drop,
raindrop shape.
It's like a raindrop or really the pear as a fruit. That's the shape of the stone. The only difference is that it was impossible to cut it with 74 facets because I took the Cullinan #1 as an inspiration, and then the top is almost exactly the same as the Cullinan #1. Only the bottom, if you ever see in the Tower of London the Cullinan #1, you can look straight through the stone because the last facet is very shallow. And of course, in the modern times, people want to have beauty and light reflection even more because we have improved technology. So that's where I changed it. But it's coming to the market, I think, first quarter 2021.
Awesome. So guys, you can pre-register at ACE. Put in your orders. We can design amazing things. What Mike was just saying about the shallowness and the depthness, what's important, what I explain to people that are new to the diamonds and when they're buying diamonds, think of it as a reflector or a satellite dish, right? It needs to come in, bounce around, and shoot out a direction. And that's what Mike means with the depth and shallowness. If it's not correct, the light goes straight through. And you guys created a patented optimum design for light.
Exactly. And
rebounding the light.
And I always explain that this is a nice comparison. I say it's very simple. Diamonds, the facets, the sides of the diamonds that we polished, the facets are polished in such a way they become mirrors.
Exactly.
And it's a piece of glass. If you polish it below a specific angle, you can look straight through the glass. If
Yeah.
you polish it above a specific angle, it becomes dark.
Yeah.
And what you want is that it becomes a
It becomes a
mirror
mirror
for the
instead
light.
of
Yeah,
glass. Yeah.
and that's the most important part.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And they will be available loose, and obviously you'll design them into jewels as well, right? And that's something we'll
You know,
discuss as well.
yeah, our biggest market is the diamond engagement ring market. My sister, who you will speak soon, is heading on not only our creative direction part, but also our marketing department. And the most important part for the sales for us is diamond engagement ring. So the pear shape today, you see that the oval is very hot in the market.
Yeah.
It is a very nice stone. It's classical. It's different than round, but it's still elongated and chic. And the pear shape is my new color for 2021.
Nice. Just getting back to colors, what people don't know, you guys are very contemporary and innovative jewelries, which I love, are the stars of Africa, or stars today.
Yeah,
You guys were one of the first to incorporate ceramics in combination with diamonds, and the stars collection is awesome because it's a dome. And you let me in on the scoop back in the day.
yeah,
Testing the fluids, you did a lot of R&D on that, I remember.
yeah,
And you're basically a snow dome with diamonds,
yeah,
if I
exactly.
use a
You
metaphor.
know, the most important part is if you see the joy that children have with the snow
Yeah,
dome,
yeah,
you need to build that for adults
yeah. So I love
in
those.
jewelry. So
The
that's
new
amazing.
generation of the designs were first pure gold, then you guys added gold with the diamonds and ceramics. Did you guys think of using other colors besides black and white that are now in the current collections? Talking about colors, because very contemporary and innovative, by
Yeah.
the way.
Um,
Or I should ask Lita that. Should I save you, spare you the question?
Well, I think there's a reason why she had decided not to add multiple colors. But
Yeah,
my answer would have been, please ask her.
I will. I will. It's a good one because I love that collection.
Yeah.
Um, so, Mike, we're almost at our 45 minutes level. I have several questions for you. I
Go
want to
ahead. I have at least 20 more minutes
20 more
before.
minutes. So you're good on
This
time.
is, Thursday is the most important day in the week because I pick up my kids from school.
Awesome. And that's important. I would never want you to be late. You're a good dad. I'm proud of you. Whenever you are on business trips, I always see you posting that you miss them. So good for you
Of
and your
course.
kids. Um, so maybe I'll freeze my question because I don't want our viewers to miss out on the
Yeah, go
opportunity
ahead.
to ask you questions. Before I forget, I want to discuss lab grown with you. I want to discuss technology and smart devices. But let's just see what our viewers are asking you. Um, Wouter calls us two legends. Thank you, Wouter.
Thanks a lot.
Diamond Teeth. I assume that he's asking A, what you think about it, and B, did you ever make them? That's my translation of that post on Facebook.
We have sold diamonds to places that we don't want to know on people's body.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm just very happy I don't have to make the item of jewelry.
Okay. All right. Politically correct answer. Thank you. David Harkema is asking, hi, Mike. What's your opinion on diamonds on men's watches on YouTube? Good question, David. Thank you.
Yeah, very good question. Diamonds on watches, on men's watches. Well, I'm quite conservative, so for me it would not work. But I have so many different cultures where diamonds are just as good for men as for women. Your stars collection, you actually just explained, is selling very well to Japanese men. So
Uh,
for
the ring,
me,
which pieces?
the ceramic ring, pink ring,
Cool.
and for me, a diamond on the watch it can be just as beautiful. It's just that I wouldn't wear it because it doesn't suit me. But I know a few people who do.
Thank you. So
Actually, interesting to get back to that. Back in the day, let's say 1960s, 70s, we sold all the diamonds that were used for the Rolex watches.
okay.
70s, 80s maybe. But my grandfather and father decided to stop because if you sell the specific millimeter size to Rolex, they always try to find something to return, and then the more they started to return more and more and more and more and more, and use less and less and less and less, and then they started buying themselves. So we said, "Oh, no, it's enough," because it became too much of a headache.
Yeah.
But,
And it's generic what you're saying, because you're a commodity trader and you guys want to add value. So I think it's actually a wise decision that was taken back in the day.
Yeah.
So let's see. One of the questions that came in of a consumer that couldn't be on the show live, and he asked, how do you look at a rough diamond and decide what to do with it? Do you make a design first, or cut it to a standard shape / size and decide from then onwards? So
it's a very good question. How you look at rough diamonds? I think from our generation, I am the last person in our industry who has been taught to look at a rough diamond with 10 times magnification, look and polish a window on the stone, look inside, where are the imperfections, and draw a line with ink on the stone to see where you can saw it the best and create the highest yield, and determine what kind of this shape you have to cut out of that rough stone. Because a rough diamond, the rough diamonds that we as Royal Asscher use often have an octahedral shape, which means like two pyramids on top of each other, perfectly square, because of the specific type of polished diamonds we cut. But you also have rectangular shapes or odd shapes or flat shapes where you then decide to polish different stones from. But today, if you look at the market, it's technology run. So a rough diamond.
Elaborate, Mike. So back in the day, from your great grandfather, everything was done by eye. You're trained in the old.
I'm trained by eye. Yeah.
Eye.
Old school.
You obviously use modern technology as well as backup.
Of course. No, actually, today I don't need to plan a stone by myself anymore. Today,
the X-ray machine.
Well, you take a rough stone, you put it in a computer, and once they make a 3D model with camera, so you can allocate the imperfections in the stone on the computer, and he will run a calculation on what is the biggest yield, and then eventually the computer will tell you, if you polish a Royal Asscher cut, you get a yield of 45%. If you polish a round stone, it will be 48%, and so on. But then comes the determination of, okay, where's my market? What do I want? And which pricing do I have to take care of to actually sell the product? And I prefer to cut a fancy cut instead of generic round. Which means that if the yield, the polished end result of a round is bigger than my fancy cut will be slightly more expensive.
Yeah.
But that's what we accept.
Financial price. So
yeah.
And run us through what you do buying from rough, and maybe also the supply chain, because one of my questions that subjects I want to talk to you about is the responsibly jewelry council and the Kimberley process, which your dad was actually very elementary in that process, right? So that's something I also want to discuss about. A website I highly recommend is called diamondfacts.org. I recommend any consumer that consults me to look at that website. So maybe please tell us a bit about the process from a mine, your buying process, up to a finished jewel in our boutique. Would you mind?
Mine to market and specifically traceability today becomes more and more important. So what we do is we have 3-4 different parts in the world where we manufacture. Amsterdam, Antwerp, Russia, and India. And we buy rough diamonds as an assortment from either De Beers or the Alrosa, which is Russian,
A lot
or
of people still
Canada.
think that De Beers is a monopoly. That's not the case.
Well, actually, there are 4 major diamond mining companies in the world, and we work with 3 of them. And for many different reasons, but you have to understand that any diamond, so rough diamonds, I try to incorporate the Kimberley Certificate into the story. The rough diamonds is the second best self-regulated material in the world. Uranium is the first, diamonds are the second. People speak about blood diamonds or conflict diamonds. 99.9999% of our diamond trade is free of conflict diamonds. If somebody wants to fraud in any certain industry, it's possible. That's why you can never in any certain industry guarantee 100% full disclosure. But we are super close. In 1998 to 2000, it was about 4% of the diamond production in specifically Sierra Leone, which was used for financing of civil wars. As an industry, when that war was over, as an industry, we immediately recognized this and said, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that none of the diamonds in the value chain are infected by the conflict area? So we set up the Kimberley Certificate, which is a certificate given by the mining company and an independent audit body and the country of origin, specifically for rough diamonds only, so that you can guarantee that this diamond has not been used to finance any conflict areas. That system of certification is set up in 2001. And the whole political body around that is called the World Diamond Council, which of which my dad recently became president.
For the second time,
which is the second time. Yeah, it's like the most important political body that governs everything that is part of the Kimberley Certificate. And that we have NGOs, we have countries, we have the mining companies and retail inside. So that is a combination and a powerful political system which governs that any diamond we sell is conflict free.
Yeah.
Then you buy a rough stone, it goes to our factory, we analyze the product, it goes to a sawing laser machine. All diamonds are sawed by laser today. And then you have more often 2 pieces of rough diamonds, one large one and one smaller one, and you start the polishing process. First you polish a few facets to make the model, and then it goes to the second phase to make it perfect. Once that is done, every single diamond needs to be shipped to an independent laboratory. So you will get a certificate which states the color, the clarity, the carat weight, the cut, all the technical details of the stone. Today, which I find very interesting, is the traceability part. Is the GIA, Gemological Institute of America, recently introduced an option for the mining company to supply the rough to the laboratory, give it a unique serial number like a blockchain, then it puts it back to the polishing wheel. It returns the same parcel, and then the certificate can indicate, and I say specifically say can, the trace of origin. So this diamond has an origin of Botswana or South Africa, or
so that improves.
However, that improves traceability, transparency.
Ethically.
Yeah,
it's ethical. can you also touch upon the fact of sustainability a bit later in your story?
Yes. Well, eventually, not a bit later, because the sustainability part starts at the beginning. De Beers announced late last year, I think, or early this year, that by 2025 they are focusing to be the first mining company in the world to be carbon neutral, which is amazing. Because yes, we have to dig into. There are three different major ways of mining: alluvial mining on the water beddings, open pit mining, you scrape off the ground, or closed pit, you dig a hole into the ground. Those are the and then you have marine, but that's a difficult story because it's not very often used.
Yeah.
So that is the first step of sustainability. And I think if we look at diamonds, if we look at gold, there is in the Netherlands, I know there is 0.0, I don't know, you know it better, percentage of new gold. It's mostly recycled.
99.99% is recycled. Yeah. Umicore is the goldest producer in Europe, and it's also certified in a close loop. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you look at the whole value chain, we are now part of the Responsible Jewelry Council, which is the only industry body at the moment which makes sure that you have an outside auditor coming into your business to look at your processes, where you buy, from who you buy, is there any indication of conflict within the whole value chain, which is a guarantee for ethical and sustainable responsibility. So I think that's a very important part in our business.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the product, when it's finished, it goes to the designers, and then to the goldsmith. From the goldsmith, it goes
gems
into jewelry, and then we put it into the retail.
Yeah.
So that's the whole customer journey for that specific diamond.
Amazing. So I also want to give a shout out to the young diamantaires, which we're both part of. Can you just briefly share with our viewers what this is and why you and I are members?
Of course, Young Diamantaires, one of the, I think, very important platforms that we have in the diamond industry today. For the younger generation diamantaires, we are able to share experience, discuss topics which you would not easily discuss with others, but also point out the differences that we see. And what I feel very strongly about is you can see on the project side of the Young Diamantaires is our charity initiative. We have a GoFundMe page too there, where we raise capital for the building of a kitchen and a library dedicated to a school in Limpopo, South Africa, where last year 25 of our Young Diamantaires visited, and there are children in that school that live on 1 meal a day. So we set up a charity initiative, and we say everybody who's able to give anything, 10, 15, 50, or even more towards this initiative, we can help those children get more than 1 meal a day and actually get intellectual developed to become part of our society, much better educated. So those two things are very important for us.
They're very important, and it's about making this planet better, this world better, and obviously for the people better, and innovate this industry and to bring it up to par with the demands, I think, with the new consumers. So I think it's awesome, and I invite everybody to check the website as well. Mike, I see, I think we can go on for many more hours, but I don't want your kids to wait. Tomorrow I'm doing a session with Italian jewelry designers. So everybody tune in tomorrow at noon, European Central Time. Mike, I want to thank you so much. It's been amazing. time flew by.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Everyone,
now let me say thank you to you because thanks for inviting us. I think we have a friendship relationship, we have a business relationship, but it's nice to see retail enjoying the creativity of the time they have within COVID to do something different and really reach out to your own following base with a different insight from all those different angles, watches, jewelry, diamonds, and I think it's great. So thanks a lot.
thank you.
I wish you good luck and a lot of fun with my sister. I will promise
On the
you one
17th
thing.
of September.
I will promise you one thing. If you do the conversation with my sister, you will see the most beautiful office that we have in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
where she can give you a tour of history.
Yeah,
All right.
it is. It is.
Thanks a
And
lot, Alon.
take care. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Bye bye, buddy.